Are you ready to get everything started? It looks like we have all our writer friends here.
Wonderful. Yes. Good morning.
Okay, I guess it is 12 o'clock somewhere. So everyone, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, because this is an international effort. So I will be a portion of your host. I'm Shundrey Patterson. I'll be joined by my co-host, the one-day poet, Melissa. So given that there's two poets hosting this is definitely going to be something that's going to be quotable. So keep that in mind. So what's brought you here is probably the Word Improv Network. Consider us the super friends of syntax, committed to doing mighty things with pens. You may know me on various parts of the intranets as Sean P. Writes. I'm the voice behind SeanPWrites.com, the face behind EditCat Consultant. You often find me at the water's edge where I pick up words there and I convert them into things of purpose, kind of like what we do here in the Word Improv Network. Before I delve into this whole side story, what I do want to do is point out a couple of things. There's a group chat in here that you can use for general comments, or if you have Q&A, if you want to cut in and ask Melissa and I something, please feel free to speak out. Use your words. You're in a safe place here. And I want to give a shout out before I delve into the old art of storytelling. Shout out to our managing editor, Concetta. No one does it better. I accidentally poetried, I'm sorry. But if you have access to the Word Improv Network, you've probably had opportunity to see the design and everything that she's put into place here. So shout out to her. Later in the event, we'll also delve into our master of ceremonies, our MC, Katherine, our master of happenings. But let's unpack it a little bit. So I mentioned that I'm an author. I reside on the East Coast of the United States. I hail here by way of Chicago. Now, since we're into origin stories, I actually found my way into this whole area of prose by way of my grandmother. She told me on my 8th grade graduation, baby, be a writer because their words live forever. And I told her I wanted to be a lawyer, and she said, baby, you got to be a good liar. And my dad said, her son, he said, listen to your grandma. And he snapped a picture. So when she spoke those words, I knew them to be true. But like anything, I lost my way. A couple of decades later, I found myself sucked in at a corporate monolith trying to find my way. And I remembered some words from my Aunt Lillian, who told me pointedly, if you got a story to tell, you better tell it. Because you don't have all day to be sitting around like a bump on the log. And when I heard those words echo, I was sitting on a log on the side of the Gunpowder River. And I got up, and I've been writing since then. That's kind of my origins into becoming Sean P. Writes. Now, what do I have on the scenario, on the writing horizon, the thing that people stop me about a lot? I've mentioned that I published 2 books of prose, From the Water's Edge, Volume 1 and 2. First book is dedicated to my dad, the person that told me to listen to my grandma, and the person that also told me that words would save my life. I couldn't make my dad a liar. And before he left this place for his ethereal digs, he told me, hey, I'll give you a tap on the other side to let you know I'm okay. Interestingly enough, the first book came out on his birthday. Synchronicity seldom misses. This is the power of words. Second book I dedicated to my family during the pandemic, when I found myself losing my way again. Now, given that I've written all of this prose, the thing that people ask me about a lot, the thing that's in my resume that draws so much attention, I'm an author, I'm a poet. I'm also a chef. My third book is a cookbook. And in cooking, it is very similar to something that we're doing here, or what we're doing here at the Writers Improv Network. In cooking, you are putting different ingredients together to tell a story, to feed the body. And in poetry and writing, we're doing the same thing. We're putting together different words, different ingredients to tell a story, to feed the spirit. That's what we do here. That's what writers do. We're alchemists. Sometimes people confuse our eloquence as beauty, but it's kind of like biofuel. We're taking French fry oil and we're converting it into fuel. That's what Melissa and I do. We'll delve more into that later. But all that to say, people ask me about the cookbook. I say that food is poetry. And people ask, how do you intend to merge these three mediums together, the holy trinity of the culinary? Food, family, and poetry. Now, the other thing that I'm a genealogist. I've had a part in tracing 200 years of my family history. Probably some of you in this group are probably my cousins and you don't know it yet. I'm also known as the ancestor whisperer. My cousin Pat once said that, dead or alive, if they're related to us, Sean will find them. That's part of the storytelling process as well. Life is a trail of poetry. Now, in our digital journal, we delve into how we are going to use words to tell stories and to leave this earth in a better place that we found it in. Because food is the one area, is the one commonality that we all have. We all eat. When we sit down, when we break bread, we do so with our hands at our disposal because we're using them to eat. We're not using them to raise fists. We all do that. And writing is the other venue where we have that power, that commonality. That's what I meant in the beginning when I said using pens to do mighty things. Now, if some of this is echoed and they're wondering, hey, where do I pick up a copy of Sean P's 2 cents? Type in Sean P. Writes on any venue. Interestingly enough, over the past 10 years or so that I've been running SeanPWrites.com, and I've been the head of EditCat Consulting, my publishing arm. I publish books too. I've marketed the hell out of Sean P. Writes. So when you pull that up, you'll find all types of delightful literary efforts that I've been involved in, from voice work, poetry, and my whole delving into the art of water therapy. Giving your tears to the waters matters none. Get up. That's often what I'm known for. But I'm looking forward to delving into how we are going to sling words, not missiles, stories, not geopolitical allegories, love, not hate, and leave this earth in a better place than we found it in. And in closing, let me share this with you. We use unusual words to craft stories. And how I came into the loop of the Word Improv Network, I've done everything here. I've been an interviewee, the interviewer, I've been the alternate. For some reason, people have come back to hear my 2 cents. So here I am again. But our fealty for words is what brought us together. A lot of these unusual words, these are words that my dad made me write in the journal. to give them at the end of the day. I've been ready for this. But get ready to dive in. I'm going to hand it off to my poet, my scribe in the tide, Melissa. Let's tell them more about what we got planned here, my friend.
Yes, absolutely. Wow, Shundrey, it's going to be pretty hard to follow up to that. You can tell you're a poet in every word that you use. So I am honored to be co-hosting with you here today and to tell all of these amazing people from all over a little bit more about the Word Improv community. So before I go into that, though, I do want to tell you all just a little bit more about myself. My name is Melissa Hinton. I am based in Georgia in the United States. So it is noon for me here. So good afternoon or good evening, good night, wherever you are. I was Pass the Baton interviewee number 17. A little bit about me. I am not a full-time writer. In my day job, I actually work in real estate. I manage student housing properties across the United States. And I, though, was very passionate about writing as a teen when I was younger. It was a great way for me to just deal with the big emotions of, those crucial teenage years that are so brutal. I got away from it for a very long time in my adulthood and just found myself really eager to connect back with myself, with who I felt I was, truly. Wait, what happened? Hello?
That is the poetry of technology not acting in the fashion that we intended to. Okay.
All right.
Melissa is back.
You guys hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you crystal clear.
So sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. So
we're moving at the speed of life here, Scribe, with no apologies accepted or
yes. All right. Well, I don't know what the last thing you guys heard me say, but I was just saying I am not a full-time writer. I write in my free time, though. I write primarily on Instagram as the One Day Poet. And I was able to actually self-publish a few publications in the last 6 months here, the One Day Poet Volume 1 and 2, and just recently released a chapbook as well. So anyway, I'm very excited about this opportunity to tell you a little bit more about the Word Improv community. So I was lucky enough to get connected with the Word Improv community back in December of 2022, and I was reached out to by the curator of the Word Sleuth account on Instagram. And so anyway, I want to tell all of you a little bit more about this community that we've built, this network of writers and authors and poets all over the globe. So who are we? We are a collection of people from the writing community, producers, movie directors, production companies, literary agents, managers, from all over the globe that are connected to writing in the writing industry. We are primarily social media based. So our, like I said, our curator operates the account Word Sleuth on Instagram, and that is all about the passionate power of words. And we really specialize in these unique and unusual words, right? So what do we challenge people to do? So as people are gravitating into this Word Improv community and network, they're usually brought in by these delightful words that are being teased on the account. Long, unusual words that are teased with the definition, what type of word that it is. And they use these 6 words. There are 6 words that are teased over a week or two. And then there is a challenge that is sent out, and we are challenging no matter the type of writer that you are, to write and create a story, a play, a skit, something to tell a story in your own voice, but you have to utilize the words in the challenge. So it's really exciting to come together and to see the incredible, unique stories. If you received the beautiful digital journal that we sent out, there is a sampling of stories that have been created over the life of this Word Improv community. So just a tremendous amount of talent that goes into every one of these. There's no time limit, no word limit, no character limit. Just create, be inspired by something new and different. And I really love personally how that challenged me. But as you participate in these different challenges, you can also unlock the opportunity for a pass the baton interview. So what does it mean? We're talking about Shundrey and I have both been involved in pass the baton interviews. So a pass the baton interview is a interview that is hosted on Instagram Live. So it consists of the interviewee as well as your interviewer, the Word Improv curator, and an alternate. So that's an alternate is someone who has been involved in a past interview. The Pass the Baton interview is truly an incredible experience. So how does it start out? It's not like you are DMing with someone on Instagram and you're like, oh yeah, let me just go live and talk about myself. We don't throw people in that way. We want to build connection and community amongst those that are participating. So what does that look like? So initially, people who indicate an interest in the interviews, they would actually start with a Zoom call where someone would be telling them what is going to be involved. So we want to show you the ropes, what is going to be involved in this. Myself and Shundrey both have been able to lead some of these Zoom calls, as well as the curator of the Word Sleuth account. We're meeting people, all over. And it's been a great experience for me just to meet all these amazing authors and writers, someone who has not been, part of the traditional publishing world. Just this great experience of meeting and connecting. And then next up, we're building a WhatsApp chat for people to be able to communicate in advance of your interview. So you're getting to know your interviewer, you're getting to know your alternate, and talking a little bit about yourself. And that helps your interviewer curate questions that they're actually going to ask you on the Instagram Live. So the Pass the Baton interviews are such a great experience because you're getting a chance to just talk about yourself, talk about your experience as an author. What I loved about that is it helped me to put some words to things that I didn't even realize, about my experience as an author, and what that looked like, as someone who is writing and creating. So really a great experience just to get to know myself a little bit deeper. So I was able to have that experience. I was interviewed by someone that you all will meet shortly, Katherine, who AKA our Master of Ceremonies today. But when he interviewed me, then I got the opportunity after Pass the Baton interview 17 to turn around and interview another author. But what's incredible about these experiences is we are connecting with writers, no matter the genre or what it is that you are pursuing, in your career or your free time, all over the globe in ways that we would not otherwise be able to connect. And that's one of the beautiful things about having this opportunity to create truly a sense of community. It also goes into creating this event today, it took a tremendous amount of collaboration of members of this community to create this, to curate this, and to put it together. And it's impossible to do that without a sense of belonging, a sense of, we're all connected. We all have similar challenges and experiences. We were talking in the chat a few minutes ago, about marketing and what a challenge that is as a writer. And I can speak that from experience. I've been self-publishing, and I recently had this post about, I'm working my day job. I come home at night. I was editing 4 hours because I do all my own editing and everything so that I could get, book 2 of my book up, and it's one thing to publish it. It's another to sell, it's quite another to sell a book, right, Shundrey?
It is another hat to wear, another set of muscles all together.
It is. It is. So there's so many things that go into it, and it can be very daunting as part of the being a writer when there's so much talent out there. It can be very daunting. So that's why writers need community, right? We need community to connect us, to give us networking, as part of the networking, sharing, broadening your audience, and I got to experience that from being a part of the Word Improv community by connecting with authors. As a poet, a lot of people I'm connecting with organically are other poets, but Word Improv has allowed me to broaden that, to get exposure to more readers,
And we're international too.
Yes.
And speaking of which, Captain is in the UK, is he not?
He sure is. Yep. Captain is in the UK, and he was the person who interviewed me in my interview. So yeah, we're global, right? Globally, all over, different walks of life, different genres of writing that we do, that we're all contributing and putting these beautiful words out in the world, right? So it's a pleasure to get this opportunity to connect with this audience of people, so truly been a great experience for me personally, and I know I speak for everyone that's involved today. We wouldn't just be doing this if we didn't feel a sense of commitment to each other, a commitment to what this community is trying to do, right? Which is to help encourage and broaden our horizons and get that exposure and inspire. Sometimes as a writer, that is the hard thing, staying inspired.
This is true.
It is. Yeah, definitely. So, all right. Well, we've got some really exciting things that are coming on the horizon from this community. We will talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes, but I did want to let you all know, so our Q&A section, the true Q&A section, is not going to open until later in our event today. So I want to encourage you, if you have questions, to jump into the general chat. If you're having any issues with technology, if you have a question about, the flow of the events, please don't hesitate to ask away. We're all here to support and to help. We want this to be a great experience for everyone. We also have Brittany in the chat. Feel free to DM her. She is one of our amazing hosts from CMX, who is giving us this wonderful platform today for us to be able to talk to all of you. So definitely feel free to reach out to her if you're having any challenges or anything. So
is it game time, Melissa?
It is close. Game time is starting at the half-hour mark. So we got a few minutes.
Okay.
A few minutes before I'm going to turn it over to Captain. So I do want to answer a question because Amon, and I hope I'm saying your name correctly, he asks, how do you join the community? Well, it's very easy to join the community. Find the account Word Sleuth on Instagram and follow it. you'll start seeing all of us engaging in there. You can go into the account. You can see our past challenges. So we talked a little bit about the word improv, right? So 6 words coming together to create your story. That is part 1 of it. And then we are currently working on scheduling out interviews. As you become involved in the different word improv challenges, you might receive the opportunity for you to be involved in a pass the baton interview, which is truly a great experience. Not only do you get to be in the interview, but then your interview is turned into a podcast that you can then share with others. It's a great way to, we're all talking about the marketing aspect of it, right? It's a great way to market yourself, let others get to know you, because what we realize is, the human experience, that human connection, that is what readers are craving, right? They want to feel connected to this author, the person who's creating the stories, and the ones that are really thriving in this day and age. That's part of what they're doing, right? They're being vulnerable, being honest, putting themselves out there, and weaving together some really amazing words. So anyway, we have some exciting things that are coming up in the Word Improv community. So we're going to tell you more about that today. We are going to be turning it over to our Master of Ceremonies, who's going to tell you about a new exciting gamification that is coming to the Word Improv community. And everyone that is on this call today is getting the very first experience of something very exciting coming to the community. So we hope you are going to love and enjoy this. I do want to encourage you to get involved on the Instagram page as well, because we have lots more exciting things coming on the horizon that are really about elevating the voice of these writers and authors all over the globe. So get involved, become part of the community, and you never know where it will take you. I speak from experience. November of last year, when I came back to my Instagram account and started sharing my words, I didn't have any idea I would be on this call today and hosting with my amazing co-host Shundrey and Katherine and all the other amazing people you're going to meet later in the event. My Instagram handle is the One Day Poet. So yeah, I will drop it in the chat here. The Instagram for Word Improv, I'll drop that in the chat too. So that is Word Sleuth. So find Word Sleuth on Instagram. You can start engaging with all these amazing challenges. But without further ado, I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Captain. Like I said, I think he was Pass the Baton interview number 16. He interviewed me, an amazing person with tons of talent. And I would not have met without the opportunity of the community that we have built here with the Word Improv community. So, hey, Captain.
Thanks so much for the lovely introduction. And ahoy, everyone. As you've heard, I am Captain the Floor Sailor. I was Pass the Baton interview number 16. And I am a writer who's only recently gotten into writing very seriously. I primarily scripts in general, plays and all that jazz. Overall, very visual mediums because I find them more fun than prose. And as you heard from both Melissa and Shundrey, I'll be your master of ceremonies today and introducing everyone to a whole brand new experience that you'll see for the first time today. But before we get into that, let me first run you through our first activity, which will be a modified word improv challenge, which I would like to give a special shout out to Bianca, who made this game and picked out for all the lovely words you'll be using today. I think she is here today. I saw her in the chat earlier, but yes, I wanted to give her a special shout out. But yeah, many people would like to get into the word improv community, but it can seem very daunting to do so. So Bianca decided to make a modified word improv challenge. Why is it modified? Because on the Word Sleuth page, normally a word improv challenge will be 6 words, you don't have a time limit, no character limit, and you just create any story from those 6 words. Now, that would be very hard to translate onto a live context such as this, so we made a modified version. I, in a moment, will screen share 3 words, and I will challenge everyone, including our panelists, to create a sentence or 2, short little story / bit out of the 3 words I show. I'll give everyone 2 minutes, and once the 2 minutes is up, I'll let you know. I encourage everyone to share their submissions in the chat, of which I'll read them out. So let me first screen share these 3 lovely words. Where is it? Trying to find the words. Give me 1 moment to get used to the screen sharing here. And when... There we go. Here are your 3 words that I would like you to use in a short story, sentence or 2. I'm giving you all 2 minutes to create something right now. And yeah, overall, we're doing this today to give you a short little introduction to what it's like writing a word improv challenge, as sort of an intro to make things seem less daunting and scary, which it definitely felt daunting and scary to me back when I first joined, back in, I think it was August, September, November time, that kind of jazz. But for now, I'll remain quiet and let you know how much you have on the timer left so that everyone could focus on writing their amazing little short stories.
My dad gave me these words to use in a sentence when I was 6. I'm serious.
True story?
Yeah.
Can verify. All right, everyone, you have 1 minute left.
I like these.
Yeah, what I'm seeing in chat so far is looking really great, and I want everyone, like now we're in like the last 10 seconds of writing, so whatever you're writing right now, try to wrap it up as timer is running out here. All right, I'm going to stop screen sharing for now and continue on with the show. There you go. As I said, everyone hopefully has written something, if you wanted to, of course. So let's read some of them in chat right now, because I saw some lovely entries right here. From writers at Second Sight, aka Concetta. For years now, I've had an unctuous relationship with my sister. It pained my soulful heart, but has created a vexing relationship. We have another one here from Arman. Soulful musician Stella was vexed to play at a pretentious restaurant owned by the unctuous Mr. Johnson. She played her heart out and won over the audience, but refused to change her style despite the request, earning a loyal following. From Yenny, unctuous folks are soulful blokes who vex my very core. From Melissa, I'm wary of my unctuous individuals instead of preferring the soulful sort. Anything else vexes me. And here's another one from Juliet. I knew he wasn't the type of person. He seemed in the office, unctuous, charming, speaking with soulful introspection. Everyone loved him, but I knew his true colors. He spoke with underhanded jabs meant to harm, to vex. Well, I had enough. My turn. From Michael, the soulful woman who was vexed by such an unctuous conversation. Bianca, the person who made this modified version of the game. He was so vexed by her unctuous behavior, he completely missed the soulful look she sent her way. From Prince, he was vexed she seemed unctuous, but he needed something soulful. And there is just so many in chat right now. Let's see. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go through every single one, but those are just some of the ones I could spot in chat and read right away. And some amazing entries here. I know that even if I didn't get the time to read your entry, I'm sure it was incredible. And I hope everyone had fun doing this sort of modified game challenge, because as I said, this is basically what we do on the Word Sleuth page all the time. And if you enjoyed doing it here, I'm sure you have much more fun going on the Word Sleuth page and following it and doing the challenges. As I said, the only difference is you'll get 6 words to play with, no character limit, so you can make as a long story as you like, and there's no time limit, so you could go back to older challenges and make submissions based on those 6 words instead of always doing the latest one. So I hope everyone enjoyed that intro to doing a word improv challenge. Now we'll be swiftly moving along to a whole brand new experience that I'm sure everyone will be excited for. Before we get on our demonstration, let me first explain what this new experience is. This new experience, I'm sure you saw the name of it on the Word Sleuth page, is called Scribe Wars. This will be a new gamified version of the Word Improv Challenge. What is Scribe Wars? Well, let me explain what Scribe Wars has 2 different versions, the solo version and the live version. Let me first explain the solo version. What Scribe Wars will be is that Word Sleuth will post on his story a set of words to go back and study. Normally, this will be just you going back to, let's say, Word Improv Challenge 20 and reading the 6 words that preceded before it. Once you get a chance to study those words, Word Sleuth will then post a question, a quippy dialogue prompt / question with a blank word. Here's an example. You are so cute, I could eat you up. Go ahead and blank me. And then you have 3 multiple choice questions. A, sleuth, B, lambast, and C, gourmetize. And on the story, you'll be able to pick whatever you think is the correct answer, which in this case is C, gourmetize. And then once you do that, Word Sleuth will keep track of everyone's progress and rank you on a leaderboard after every war. And the terminology here is that 1 question is 1 battle, 6 questions / 6 battles is a war, 3 wars is a season, and 9 wars is a era. And that is how it will work on the Word Sleuth page. After you get ranked on the leaderboard, you can also earn virtual coins, which work at Word Sleuth's discretion. You can cash in for prizes, and there are different prizes depending on if you're a writer or an author. So there really is something for everyone if you decide to take part in Scribe Wars for the prizes, or if not, just for the fun of the game. What I will be demonstrating to everyone today is the live version. To quickly go over the live version, as you guys will see in a minute how it works, is that the only difference is, first off, it's live. Second off, we'll have 2 contestants plus a host / master of ceremonies refereeing everyone. Basically, 2 people will go up against each other, and I will direct them to study a word improv challenge, and I'll give them a timed timer. Further back they have to go, the longer I'll give them time to study the set of words. Then once they're done studying, I'll give them 3 questions, and they have to write on a sheet of paper what they think the correct answer is. And they're going up against each other to see who the better scribe waree is. And at the end of the 6 questions, we'll hopefully be able to crown a winner. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. And if it doesn't, you can always pop the question in chat so I can answer it later if you have any questions or such. Or just pay attention and we'll see from the live demonstration how the game will work. Also, I will mention that Scribe Wars got a manual which came alongside the digital journal, which you can read if you want the full lengthy rules detail. but I think that should cover it for explanations for now. So I would first like to introduce our two very lovely contestants. So hello, and say hello to our two lovely contestants, Michael and Mila. So if we could get Michael and Mila into presenter mode / host mode, that would be great, Brittany. I think it's Brittany that can do that. In
that is her superpower. Yes, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, so in the so yeah, we'll wait to get Mila and Michael into presenter mode, and I'll allow them to introduce themselves, and we'll go from there. But yes, in the meantime, while we wait for our contestants, if anyone has any thoughts or questions about Scribe Wars or anything like that in chat, go ahead and put them, and maybe we'll have time to answer them before our contestants come on to screen. Oh, here they are.
There we are.
Righty ho. Brilliant. Let's get the show on the road. Everyone, hello, and please say hello to our two lovely contestants, Mila and Michael. Because I'm going to go order on screen. Mila, would you like to get the opportunity to introduce yourself and tell everyone who you are today?
Yeah, I'll fix my lighting in a little bit. Sorry, I didn't know it was going to be so dark. My bad. Hi, everyone. My name is Mila Velimirovich, and I have been writing since I was able to put words together on paper. And I've been reading even longer. But I've never really had much confidence with my writing abilities. It's always been kind of just shove it to the side. It's more just like a fun thing to do on the side. It wasn't until recently I finally had the bravery to actually self-publish my first book in my series called Oriana's Legacy, which was super exciting. However, even though I have it online and it's there for people, I still am lacking the confidence. So I was searching for a community, a writing community, which was a big thing for me. And I got just super lucky that one day I got a message from Word Sleuth being like, hey, you want to join our community? And I was like, yeah, sure, sounds good. But then in my head, I was like, hells yeah, I'm totally in. And it's been great ever since. I have been able to actually do an interview. I think mine was number 25 of Pass the Baton, which was amazing. And everyone was super great on that. And even beyond that, the whole community has been super supportive. And it's also helped me hone my creative abilities with all these little challenges. So I really appreciate that. And it's also nice to have all these writers here who are telling me, yes, you are a writer. Don't put yourself down and you got this. So super grateful to be here and also a little nervous to be the guinea pig, but excited.
Well, thank you so much for taking part today and for introducing yourself to everyone. Michael, would you like to do the same and introduce yourselves to everyone in the chat today?
Sure. My name is Michael Adams. Under my full name, Michael Anthony Adams Jr. You can find me. You can find my website, michaelanthonyadamsjr.com, where all my stuff is up: writing, music, all sorts of stuff. I'm kind of I've written for all sorts of. I started writing when I was probably I think I was in 5th grade when I wrote my first poem when my family moved from the day before my family moved from Texas to Virginia, and I've been writing ever since, and I have been publishing for the past over a decade now. I was originally publishing under a pen name, but I have since started my own imprint and republished everything under my own name. I found the Word Improv Community through somehow on Instagram and reached out to see and wrote a couple Word Improvs and reached out to the community to see if I could join the Pass the Baton interviews, and they were happy to include me, and I was happy to be included. It was a great experience to both interview and be interviewed, and I'm excited to play this game today. I guess that's about it for me. Yeah.
Outstanding. Brilliant. Then in that case, we can get the game underway. First, I just want to make sure, everyone, you do have a pen and paper in front of you and ready to write down answers, correct? Outstanding. I'll reiterate the rules, which I'm sure you were paying attention, but just in case someone in chat wasn't, I will direct you both to a word improv challenge, and you will study that set of words. For the first 3 questions, you will answer and fill in the blank by either A, B, or C. And I will award you points whether you get the answer correct or not. Does that make sense to both of you?
Yes.
Mila? Brilliant. Outstanding. Then in that case, can I direct both of you to study Word Improv Challenge number 29, I believe. And I will give you guys 90 seconds, as that's one of the more recent challenges. To remind everyone in chat, the timer is based on how long ago the Word Improv Challenge was, to give people more time to study the words. However, everyone on this call doesn't need to go onto the Word Sleuth page, as I'm here to help everyone understand what the words our 2 lovely contestants are studying. So the 6 words they're currently studying are syzygy, basically when the sun, the moon, and the earth all line up. Smelt, when you melt down and fuse metal via chemical compounds. Bombastic, someone who's like very big and confident, but it's all very showy. Gobsmack, when you leave someone absolutely speechless. Scoundrel, basically a rascal, a troublemaker, and all that jazz. And je ne sais, basically just pleasure and enjoyment. Those are the 6 words our 2 lovely contestants are currently studying at the minute, as they'll be answering questions based on those words alone. And you can just see the concentration. Heads up, 30 seconds left on the clock. Let's just give them silence to focus in this very important game and duel.
You need some music or something.
I would love to be able to facilitate that. But for now, this is what we're doing. Just a demonstration for now. If I could, I would love to do that. Maybe something for me to think about another time. All right. That is your 90 seconds up. So, yep, just wrap up whatever you were looking at there, and I could start asking you both questions now. The way I'll be doing this is I'll read out one of the questions, then I will state your 3 multiple choice questions by saying A followed by the word. But if you think you know the answer, write down the letter, and I'll ask you to reveal it. Please reveal it to the camera. So your first question, let me find it here, is the following. So what did you think of my friend? He wasn't too much for you, was he? Too much? He's got to be one of the most blank person I've ever met. Your answers are either A, syzygy, B, bombastic, or C, smelting. Write down what you think the correct answer is, and I'll ask you to reveal it to the camera shortly. All right. When I say go, reveal it to the camera. 3, 2, 1, go. Right. That says they both say B. Brilliant. So Michael and Mila both got the answer correct. The answer was in fact bombastic. Trust me.
I was trying to write bombastic down, but I wasn't quick.
I see. Righty-ho. Let's get on to question 2 of 6 for now. So the second question is, I can't believe what my son has done at school today. When will he ever stop causing so much trouble? What has the blank done today? Your answers are either A, gobsmacked, B, syzygy, or C, scoundrel. Write down what you think the correct answer is, and when I say go, reveal it to the camera. Righty-ho, you both look ready. So 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh, yeah, that's a C. Both Michael and Mila put down C, scoundrel, which happens to be the correct answer. Intense game so far, all tied up, but Perhaps that won't stay like that for soon, as I may throw a curveball at both of our contestants. Question number 3 of 6. The question is, where is it? There it is. Come on out with me tonight so we can watch the stars. Don't mean to make you more excited, but I heard there will be a blank tonight. Is the answer C, smelting, B, je ne sais, or C, syzygy? Write down what you think the correct answer is, and when I ask you to, please reveal it to the camera. All right, you both look ready. So 3, 2, 1, go. Please reveal your answers. And you have both written C. So that does happen to be the correct answer. Halfway through this game, and both of our contestants are both also tied up. But for now, I'll have to refer to both of our contestants to a new set of words to study. The reason we do this is to make sure we keep the integrity of the game and stop people from using process of elimination rather than their knowledge for words. And so the new set of words I'll be referring to my players is word set 22. I'll give both of our contestants 90 seconds to go find that set of words and study them. For everyone on call here today, you won't need to do that. That's what I'm here for. I'm making sure that all of our lovely audience watching in today on this demonstration understand what the set of words they're studying is. So this new set of words that our two contestants are studying are ubiquitous, basically someone who's too eager to follow orders. Quixote, someone who's very romantic and impractical when it comes to following ideals. Lisanting, which is basically a piercing or stabbing sensation. An autocrat, which is basically someone ruling with unlimited authority. Kleptomania, which is a persistent impulse to want to steal without very many benefits to it. And a charlatan, someone who pretends to have skills and knowledge that in reality they do not have. So that'll be the new set of words our two contestants are studying. And I think since our two contestants are so talented, for the second half of this game, we'll throw a curveball at both of them and see if their knowledge of these words really are as good as they seem to be. 30 seconds left on the clock, it looks like. Oh, no, 15. My timer is falling behind. So I'll just give them these last few seconds to study this set of words. Righty-ho, that is the timer up. So if both of our contestants could please get ready to commence in Act 2 of this intense farcical play that we call this game. Righty-ho, as I mentioned, I'm going to throw a curveball, and this curveball was actually recommended to me by Wordsleuth, who helped me develop this game. Since both of you seem to be so knowledgeable and smart in every way, shape, or form, you will no longer have multiple choice for this second half. You will have to fill in the blank, which means you will have to write the words, so I'll give you a little bit more time to do so. I hope none of you let your guard down and thought it was going to be that easy for the second half. Righty-ho. So I'm going to ask you a question and write down the word that you think is it. I won't be harsh on spelling because, you know, it's a game show and you could get stressed and scared and write down the wrong letter, so I won't be that much of a harsh host. But here is your first question of many. What the hell am I going to do? I didn't think I would get the job. I'm in deep trouble. This is what I meant when I said you should stop being such a blank. Write down the full word that you think could fill in that blank. I'll give you both a little bit more time than usual to write it down. It looks like Mila is already raring to go. How about you, Michael? Are you ready to review your answer? Brilliant. 3, 2, 1, go. Please review your answers to the camera. So Mila wrote down charlatan, and so did Michael. And you are both so smart because that does happen to be the correct answer. This charlatan got into a job that he should have never had in the first place. an experience I can relate to all too much. Okay, 5th question now. Should I just give up on my ideals? It's not like I'm making a change. What do you mean? You've always been the blank type through good and bad. Please fill in the word that you think makes most sense to fill in that blank. Ooh, this is intense. Giving it real thought. I do like this curveball of fill in the blank, because the advantage of having such uncommon words is that people don't use them too often. The downside is they are so uncommon, it's very obvious what sentence they're meant to fill. All right, are you both ready to review your answers? Brilliant. 3, 2, 1. Please review your answers to the camera. So it looks like Mila wrote down Quixote, and so did Michael. Brilliant, outstanding performance, because that is the correct answer. So both of you get another point. This is intense. It's all up to the last question now. Which of these questions should I pick? Which one do I think will be the toughest one for you guys to answer? Why don't I pick this one? I'm going to completely ignore the last question I had ready. Whitey-ho. Sometimes I feel like my boss just walks all over me, you know. He walks all over you because he knows you're blank and that he can get away with it. Please fill in the blank that fills that statement.
Mila's a little bit too excited here, like she's using her writer superpowers here.
I mean, you should be excited. It's a brand new game, and you get a very, very valuable virtual currency worth a lot.
This is true.
Yeah. Michael, are you ready to review your answers as well? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Please review your answers to the camera.
I'm blank. I couldn't remember another word.
Oh, no. Well, unfortunately for you, Michael, Mila did get that answer correct. It was ubiquitous. The reason the word was
I almost used it for the last one. And then I crossed it out. I was like, no, that's not right.
Yeah. What I will say is that typically these word prompt questions, the hint to what the word is either the context or in the first line. In this case, the reason it was ubiquitous is because the word, by definition of word sleuth, is someone who's too eager to follow orders. In this case, it makes sense because this person's boss walks all over this person because they know they're too eager to follow orders. And
I couldn't remember any other words that were in that list. That was my problem there.
So those 2 words I knew were going to be my problem words. So I was trying to find, like, I was a science teacher, so I have some memory techniques that I was trying to use.
I had a question lined up there, but I felt it was too easy. I decided to change, and I was thinking, which of these words are the hardest? And then I realized, which of these words are the hardest to say for me? And I just decided I picked them there.
I'm not even going to try to say those words. So
I spent an hour beforehand learning these words. But anyway, in this exciting breakneck game that was all tied up to the very end and finale, we have crowned our first winner of Scribe Wars at the end of a full-on war, which happens to be Mila.
Congratulations, Mila.
Thanks.
How does it feel, Mila, to win the first ever Scribe Wars?
Well, I just want to thank my mom. I'm just kidding. No, it's great. I'm very competitive. This makes me feel a little good.
Yeah, I do remember you telling me about that. But don't worry, Michael, you shouldn't feel too down, as you won't leave home empty-handed. The winner of a live version of Scribe Wars is coming home with 5 virtual coins, while the person who did not win will come home with 2 virtual coins. The reason we don't want to leave anyone empty-handed is because it does take a lot of energy and bravery to come onto a live show and answer these questions against another contestant. So both contestants will come home with 2 virtual coins, just a proportionate amount due to their performance. And with that, I can proudly conclude the first ever game of Bribe Awards and the end of our activities and ceremony section. And I hope everyone enjoyed watching and had a blast watching and taking part as well. Let me just check the running order, and it seems like we'll be passing the baton on to Shundrey to handle Q&As and segue into our testimonial section of the show.
Yes, yes. So let's see what we have here. Now, I did mention that if anybody had any questions that they can deposit those here. So let me take a look, see if we have any questions. Now, I know that there were some questions about marketing. And if you do ever want to pick our proverbial brains, picking the brains of two poets, oh, I mean, that's a gold mine. Just feel free to follow Melissa and myself, and we can let you know what we've learned from walking that path. Melissa, I see a Super Friends partnership brewing in our future.
Absolutely.
I see it. I see it.
What we're going to have to collaborate on more of these things.
Yes. I think we will. No,
sorry. No, I was just going to share that we did open up the official Q&A section in the chat.
Awesome.
So you all can feel free to drop into the Q&A section. Drop any questions. If you want to ask a question directly to myself or Shundrey or Captain, if you have a question about the Word Improv community or, just general about writing, please, this is a collaborative experience for all of us today.
Yeah, let us know how we're doing. This is your tribe. This is one thing I wanted to point out to people is that, and you can speak to this as well, Melissa. A lot of times we find ourselves on this path where we are speaking to ourselves. That's what writers do. We're talking to ourselves. We're having this active conversation that nobody else is privy to. And then sometimes we hit this frequency and someone else hears it, and then it spreads. And then you find that you do have a following, and then you do have a tribe, people that think alike and think like you. Dare I say that we're probably a separate race of people, writers, because we're wired differently. So I do want to make that known to a lot of people, because a lot of times you think, oh, I haven't published a book. I haven't published a blog. I'm not a writer. You are a writer. And yep. Katherine has Katherine, thank you. Katherine is an amazing writer as well, and she's going to be part of the program as well. And let's see what else.
Yeah, we've got some questions popping in over here in the Q&A section. Some good ones.
Okay, let's go. Hey, we'll go through them. Take the first one, Melissa. Let's see what they.
All right. Let's see. How important is, I was trying to, it says answer live, but how important is demographics for an effective marketing strategy? So great question. Great question. I think it's important to understand who your audience is, right? So who is your work going to resonate with, right? And sometimes that's, it really depends. I mean, I would say for me, like I have had a little bit of a challenging time breaking into, the reading audience, right? I've built a vast network of other writers. So that's why I actually, one of the things that I've really gotten passionate about for me personally is hosting writing prompts, as a writer, prompts, because I found prompts very inspiring, especially when, if I might be struggling a little bit with the writer's block, but if I have a prompt, it can really help me to, connect with something that I might not even realize that I'm feeling or that I need to write about. You know, if you're a writer, you know that sometimes that writing is a need, you know, it usually is. Like I feel better when I write. So for me, I have given some thought to that and decided to actually write a writing prompt journal. So that's something that I currently have in progress that I'm going to be, that's one of my works in progress that I'll be announcing really soon. So I think for me, I've found that that's my demographic has been, you know, other writers and building that connection. So I want to think about, well, what am I creating that is going to resonate with my audience? And that's something that is inspiring another writer. So that's an example for me, myself, with that question. So, you know, Shundrey, do you have other thoughts there, you know, on demographics and the effective marketing strategies?
I think probably the most important one, and I tell a lot of writers this, is that your family and friends, that is not your audience. They're not. It requires a different set of muscles. The people, your friends and family, their job is to love you. For them to support your work that they may not understand, may not resonate with them, it requires a different set of muscles. Now, there's 7.7 billion people on the planet. That's your audience. That kind of ties into the question Aman had, has a 18-year-old writing poems on Instagram. That's a powerful thing to do. I'm an accidental poet. Like I said in the beginning, I came into poetry as a recovering journalist, lost myself in the corporate space, and I remembered my Aunt Lillian telling me that if I was wasted, that I had a story to tell, and I had no time to be sitting around like a bump on the log. Me telling these stories organically, your tribe will find you. So to answer your question, Aman, that's speak organically, speak your truth, talk to yourself, and the people will come. Kind of like the movie, the Kevin Costner movie, Field of Dreams. We're doing that same thing here in this network. We build it and they will come. The same thing with your words. That's how you find your demographic. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. I think that's a great answer. I love what you said about, you know, we're not writing for our families and friends. We need to write for ourselves. What is our truth? What is authentic to us? And I think also connecting with a writing community. It's a really important part of that because that can help you break into audience and exposure that you might not previously have had. And it'd be the same advice I would give. You know, there's a great question Justin has in here, suggestions of companies for self-publishers, you know, is that for, I would say writing communities are really great to be a part of, looking for ways into that audience, I think is really important as well.
Now, there is another question here. And I know we may be going a little bit out of order, but I promise we'll circle back. Dan has asked about the best way we found to improve your writing vocabulary. Going by the gray on my face, I'm a pretty old guy. My vocabulary, again, I have to go back to my dad. My dad would take an encyclopedia and just give me half of the book and say, hey, find a definition for all of these words, and I'll be back in 9:15. My vocabulary started from there. Another interesting methodology that I have, I'm big into Civil War history. And of that era, there was lots of prose-worthy writing. So I've read a lot of that. So once you read something, it becomes part of you. So a lot of my writing, a lot of the words that we use here in WordPress, these are words that I've been marinating in since I was like 5 or 6 years old. So my suggestion, Dan, is just reading books from that period, reading Whitman, reading Baldwin, reading Thoreau, those type of weighty words, they mean more than just a basic one. Sometimes a basic word won't do. I hope that answers. Would you agree, Melissa?
Yes, I would. I think that's great. I always think that the best way to get inspired as a writer is to go read. Go and read something, and sometimes it can be something completely different than what you typically write. So for me, like I do love to read. I read a lot of fantasy and things like that that I really enjoy, or sometimes something historical, which is not typically what I'm writing. But I find for me, reading and it helps me get out of my headspace and just immerse myself in someone else's world, and when I'm immersing myself in someone else's world, all of a sudden I'm relieved of the stress, and I'm just absorbing the things around me. And that's where I'll find these words. And a lot of times it's in reading that I will get inspired for something that I want to write. It can be like a line or a word or something that just kind of speaks to me, gets your soul kind of, excited. That happens to me a lot when it comes to creating the writing prompts. Sometimes I'll be reading something, I'll be like, wow, I really love that. I could do it with this, and then, then I'll kind of I like to map out my prompts for a month, because I host a prompt for every day of the month, but I also write based on that prompt every day of the month. So it's not just something I'm doing for other people, it's something I do for myself, for the accountability, for me to write one poem a day. And so a lot of times that inspiration will come from something that I'm reading. So read and expose yourself to words in immersive ways. But the Word Improv Community, the Word Sleuth account, is another great way to improve your writing vocabulary, because you're going to get exposure to words. And, there are things that you'll find that you can start using organically. So one of the things I really like to do is, as these new words are being teased, is I just start the note on my phone, and I'll write out the word and the definition, and just kind of let myself marinate, like we're talking about marinating these words. I like to marinate over it and really kind of give some intentionality of thought of how I want to use that word and get comfortable with how that word is used. Another great way is to, I subscribe to the Webster's Word of the Day. I used to actually do a lot of my poetry using the Webster's Word of the Day.
I do it every day at 9 o'clock. It's like a steady okay, guilty as charged. See?
Yep.
See?
Yep. So that's another great way to improve it. So yeah, that's wonderful. All right. Looks like there's another great question.
How does a fresh poet promote his first poetry book if they're not registered to be a citizen? You're a citizen of Earth. Again, there's 7.7 billion people on the planet. My first book, dedicated to my dad, and it's, for some reason, it inspired a lot of people. And people ask me about it. They say, how did you do it? And I tell them I cried a lot. What I did with that is that I converted my grief into fuel to serve as steps back from the dark places. So I was authentic with it. I was organic with it. I did a whole lot of crying. So that authenticity, that backstory behind that commonality, that sense of loss, that sense that something, that sense that personification that everybody is going to go through, that's what echoes with people. That's the story that you need to tell with your poetry. What is this poetry? What have you converted this poetry from? Is this poetry based on love? Is it based on disaffection? Is it based on grief? Is it based on protest? So a lot of times people think that poetry is just words put together, but it's cooking. It's like making a dish. It's like my third book. And that's what you need to do to promote it, to pull people in, to give them that hook. Would you agree, Melissa?
Yes, no, I definitely would. I think, when it comes to as a fresh poet, I think this writer is saying they're having challenges marketing themselves in a country that they've recently moved to. But I agree with everything that you're saying. But they added an additional part to that. So as you were talking, so I think, I can't speak to everyone's experience because I can only speak to my own individual. I will say a lot of people are finding different avenues. For me personally, I have done my self-publishing. So I don't know if any of you have written with, but lulu.com is a publishing company that does self-publishing. As long as you can draft and create your entire book, which personally I have done all of my book creations in Canva. I have a Canva Pro account where I do all of my layout. It does make it challenging when it's time to, if you're going to do an ebook also, because you're going to have to recreate that in Word. But it's really helpful because I post my poems onto Instagram and design everything in Canva. So I'm able to create a template, drop everything for my books into my Canva template. So it makes it really easy for me to create the book. I initially published with Lulu, but shipping fees can be high with Lulu, but I will say they are internationally based. They're in countries all over the world. They have their own web front. So I would look into that initially. Now I've started doing my publications through Amazon with kpdpublishing.com. That's where I've been doing my latest too. Yeah,
you kind of have to go to where everyone is.
Where is everybody? Yeah,
Amazon is omnipresent, regardless of what you think about them.
Exactly, and how are the people in the country that you live getting their books, right? How are they connected with it? If that's who your audience is, you want to think about your audience. I mean, I got super excited today. What I love about using KPD is I look today, you can check your book reports every day. And I was like, oh my gosh, someone in the UK and someone in Australia bought my book. And I'm like, that just feels so good,
It's the best time, definitely.
Yes, that's a great one.
Well, Justin mentioned he has no idea to how to market on KDP. It's a I'm not going to say a struggle, but it's an effort, because as an independent author, you are always selling your book. You're always marketing, whatever, and that's a big part of why sometimes our family goes ear deaf on us, because we're always talking about the book. They've heard this their entire life. They don't want to hear it anymore. But the 7.7 billion people, you kind of have to have that tunnel vision to keep doing that. But paying to market, I use a lot of different methods. I use micro marketing, and micro marketing is just kind of setting aside a budget to do what you can, because something of something is better than nothing of nothing. Just how you have fractionalized stock trading, you can do that with your marketing, Justin. Another question, Miss Melissa?
Yeah, so I love this question from Prince. How do we use this community to showcase our books? And Mila answered that. And part of it is the Pass the Baton interview. But there's something very exciting, and I kind of teased this a little bit when I was talking, but we actually have something on the horizon, which is going to be connecting the Word Improv community to book reviewers. So I know we've all kind of been in there. If you are operating on any social media, you've gotten DMs and they're like, oh, we want to review your book. It's only going to cost you blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
And I mean, you can go broke trying to sell a book. It's very, very easy to do. You don't have to go far to find different ways. And, I'll agree with Justin, it's, marketing on KPD. I've done a few of the click ads. I will say, like, if you have a niche audience, which I do as a poet, I mean, poetry is something that, it's not, romance novelists, which are selling, thousands of copies, right? So you have to organically develop a lot of that in, building your audience on your social media platforms, making sure that you're available on multiple. So don't pigeonhole yourself into one. I do primarily use Instagram, but I have also, I've created, other accounts as well. Part of it is you want to go ahead and claim your your name. Like if you write under a certain name, get your name claimed on YouTube, on Twitter, on, Facebook. I recently have found, since I connected my Instagram to my Facebook page, that my Facebook audience has been growing, and I've been getting some exposure to some different writers there. And look for Facebook groups to be a part of. I'm in a Facebook group, Moms Who Write, and I've gotten so many great ideas, and I can go to that and post my questions. Like I was trying to figure out, people want to buy signed copies of my book, and I've been trying to figure out the best avenue for me to do that as someone who's a small publisher. And, they gave me the idea of, hosting that on Etsy, so it's great to connect with these other authors so that you can get ideas and be able to connect with other people.
Yeah, and recycling, I want to say cannibalizing, but recycling is probably the more user-friendly term to use. When you see something that works, use it. And then do reruns of a lot of the successful things that so for example, let's say you have a post. I think this may touch on the question that Justin had and another question that I saw in there as far as marketing. So if you have a post that had 100 hits, use it again. Then use it again. It's kind of like TV. That great episode that was on, I don't know if they do it so much now. We're in the age of back in the day, in the old days, they kept showing the rerun. That's the same thing with marketing. And what you want to do is just kind of take note of what works. Because my niche is a strange niche in that I'm a poet, and then people kind of stumble into, I'm a cook, I'm a chef. And then, you make yourself sticky with your personality. And I think that a lot of people tend to leave that out because and this kind of touches on one of the first posts I saw in there about imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is a spirit. We will always do battle with that. I think that is, and I think Melissa, I think you could probably agree with it. That's probably our inspiration and our arch enemy at the same time.
Yep. No, I would definitely agree with you that those are, it is one of those things that I think we all battle against. And I don't think it matters if you're, independent or self-published versus even, traditional, at times. I mean, it can be challenging to fight that. I think any artist or creator feels that at times, right? Because what we're doing is we are putting a piece of our soul into what we're creating, right? It's literally like putting a little piece of your heart in every poem that I write, and it's like pouring myself out there. And when we're doing that, literally it's like your heart on a platter and you're saying, here, don't hate it, you want it to be, you want people to see and experience it and enjoy what it is that you create. Now, we also have to get comfortable as writers with our work is not going to resonate with everyone. Like, Shundrey is saying family and friends, and I can totally speak to this. The first book, when I published it, I sold a ton to all the families and friends that wanted to support me. And then I launched book 2 and not so many, because it's like, they were like, oh, that's so exciting for you. So now though, I'm realizing as a writer that I have to go out and find my audience of readers. So part of it is getting connected with this community, getting this opportunity to talk to all of you today, getting involved in, different writer communities. There are a lot of, engagement groups and things like that on Instagram that, I've gotten connected with that help you to get more exposure. One thing I'll say too is like with my book, I'm just posting, reels with some music of, one of my poems, like a page with my poetry, and I've actually, and people are like, wow, okay, this looks like nice quality. I like the work. And I'm noticing that is getting more attention to some of my work. And I've noticed recently that that's gotten more of the exposure. I did try a boosted ad on Facebook last week, and I saw a lot of new activity to my page and growth in my audience. And I would say, maybe look at that if you're struggling. Now, pay attention to how much you're spending, because it can add up really quick. But the Facebook boosted post that I did, and it boosted across Instagram and Facebook, but I try to target readers and fans of other authors and the demographic. And so that allowed me to get some exposure in some readers versus just writers, which is what my primary audience is.
Now, how did you use that in concert with your Twitter? Because I do a lot of that, and then I recirculate it on Twitter. It's kind of like that hamster wheel. I try to use a lot of that. Because a lot of times people make the mistake. They think, oh, I posted this on Monday, nobody saw it, I'm not going to use it again. But those same people aren't there. Or we're looking for cousin number 5 or cousin number 6 to look at it versus the person that's on the other side of the globe. That's actually has been a lot of where I've gotten my readership from. I actually, interestingly enough, and this kind of speaks to the marketing question that someone put out there, and me mentioning that, alluding to the fact that there's 7.7 billion other people on the planet. One of my readers, somebody that I did not know, introduced my work to a family member of mine, and the family member reached out to me and like, I didn't know that you were actually writing books. I didn't know you did this. And I was like, I did. And that just kind of speaks to that, that we've had that conversation, but, you go nose blind to it. So that kind of speaks to that. And then he also mentioned book reviews. And I know I'm kind of jumping around here. Book reviews, and because I know we're kind of pressed for time. We got 2 minutes left. Book reviews are gold. And Melissa, we could go all day about this. Has an independent author, word of mouth travels. Nobody wants anything that nobody else wants. We need other people to tell our stories, and that is key. So anybody that you can beseech or plead with or ask for a book review, that's gold.
I think it is really hard to get reviews sometimes, but what I will say is, get connected with other authors, and don't ask anything from other authors that you yourself are not willing to give, right? This community, it really is, it's collaborative, but it's also like, don't ask for more than you're willing to give. Like I'm giving in service, and a lot of these things that I am contributing to, but it's because I'm willing to do it for others, and I don't want to ask someone without also being willing to offer as well. So, looking at ways that you can elevate other voices. I think that's really important, and to connect and just broaden and get these. And I love that idea of the niche Facebook groups. Go find Facebook groups. I know some people will say Facebook is dead. It's not dead.
No.
It's definitely, there's a lot of people that are connecting on that. So,
especially leaning on the hashtags as well. I don't think people lean on the hashtags as much as they need to. I think they rely on the stuff that's in their feed. And if you rely on that stuff in your feed, you're going to lose track of your humanity and your sanity. But yeah, just kind of clicking one interesting strategy on how you can find a lot of these groups, Justin, is just kind of clicking on one of those hashtags, and it will take you into all of these different groups. And that's how I found some of the groups. And then even doing, branching out a little bit and doing a live. That's how I came into contact with Word Sleuth. He saw a live that I actually found a live that I did when I was in Chicago through a hashtag, and he came across a lot of my work, and that was just organic. I wasn't looking for any entreaties from everyone. It was very organic, and now you have Melissa and I here giving you our 2 cents of literary kibble.
Yes, definitely. Well, I think, Shundrey, I think we're ready to get some
Yeah.
testimonials. People have heard a lot from me and you today.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see who we have up to give the floor to. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. Now I mentioned her earlier, Concetta, our managing editor, the one that doesn't do it any better. She's gonna give us her testimonial about how this has impacted us, and I think this will answer some questions that people had about being on the wall, about joining this collective of people, of writers with pens doing mighty things. Concetta, how are you, my friend?
Hi, guys. How are you? Hi.
We are great. So good to see you.
It's wonderful to see you guys. Guys, you've done an outstanding job. Thank you so much for everything you've done for today. Like, to see this come together till now, it's amazing. Oh my God. Have you guys been having a really good time doing this?
I would have to say that we have. I think I've lost track of time. This is a.
I know. We just started talking on those Q&As. I was like, okay, Shundrey and I could just talk all day about this. You know, definitely. This has been a blast.
I felt the vibe. I'm sorry.
So, Concetta, tell us something good. Tell us, give us your 2 cents on this glorious thing that we're involved in.
Yeah, no, let's definitely talk. I want to know for everybody in the chat, how's everyone been enjoying themselves? Please tell me you've been enjoying the games. Like, outside of our esteemed hosts, Melissa and Shundrey, who've been doing an outstanding job, I want to give a moment to thank CMX and Word Sleuth for putting all of this together, right? Right? And cannot forget our master of ceremonies, Katherine the Floral Sailor, for his wonderful game of Scribe Wars. I definitely see this going somewhere. Like, oh my God, right? For those who don't know me, my name is Concetta. I'm originally from New York, but I now come from, now I live in Kissimmee, Florida, with Disney in my backyard. You can find me on Pass the Baton interview number 14. I've been both an interviewer and an interviewee, and both ends have been nothing short of welcoming and inspiring. I am the author of Secrets of the City of Gold. You can find that on Amazon. It's a retelling of The Road to El Dorado, that 2000 Dream film, DreamWorks film. Can't talk today, guys. If you've noticed me, if you've been noticing me in the chats, anyone who remembers that movie, definitely give a shout out, because I know it's such an obscure film. I am a copywriter, a creative brand strategist, author coach, and I've served as the editing manager of the Digital Journal, which has been nothing short of a pleasure. So guys, thank you so much for your shout outs. Like, they've just meant so much. I've been crying behind the scenes and so glad I'm going like later on, because I'm just like, I can't go crying. If you couldn't tell, I've made words my life, and it was only fitting that I fell into this wonderful, wonderful community. And I mean, guys, this has been nothing short of a pleasure working with these wonderful individuals here. Like, literally everybody has put something into this. This is definitely what community stands for. This is definitely what community is about, you know, and that's just been the Word Improv Community 100% all the way ever since I started. And I met Word Sleuth on Twitter when I was doing a writer's lift. I did a writer's lift with a bunch of, hashtags, and Word Sleuth found me, and they were like, hey, listen, you want to come join our community? And I go, yeah, like, who hasn't been seeking a really good writers community? That's just so welcoming on all fronts. I cannot stress that enough. Let's see what else I got here. I made notes. I've met so many talented and wonderful individuals who I otherwise wouldn't have met. Like, it's so rare to just cross paths with such welcoming, warm, talented individuals. The Word Improv Challenges, for example, they test your creativity in the best way, and they make you a better writer for it. When you're learning these new words, whether it's through the challenges, reading like Melissa, you were talking about, and Shundrey, what you were saying as well, like, learning new words is just such an enriching experience, right? And if anyone's ever been curious about, expanding their vocabulary, or if new and big words scare you, because I know how scary big words can be, right? Trust me, guys, take it from me. Take it from the New Yorker, You're in the right, you're in the best hands, seriously. You will learn so much about this community and about these wonderful individuals. And as a coach, let me say one thing, all right? Because I got to get my 2 cents here. Never give up. Seriously, never give up. Take me, for example, okay? It took me 15 years to actually sit down and say, I can do this, I can write a book. And it's not always a solo effort. You got people that come across and, they say, you can do it, you got this. And I know people can tell you all they want that, yeah, you can do this. You got to believe it. You got to believe in yourself to do it. So if you don't think you've got it, you 100% have it. Absolutely do. First drafts, they are meant to look like they belong in a landfill, because that's what the editing process is about. They're meant to look that way. Not everything's meant to look pretty. I'm sure it's pretty, but to you, it's not going to look pretty. It's not going to look pretty.
And we know what Ernest Hemingway said about the first draft of anything.
Yep. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Concetta.
Yeah. No, thank you guys. I appreciate, this.
Hey, like I said, we're mighty friends doing things with pens. And speaking of pens, I think we have Dessi up as well to give her 2 cents. Are you there, Dessi? Or do I defer to Brittany? Brittany, let me defer to you on that to get Dessi here. There we go. Dessi, how are you, my friend? I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you?
Hi. Okay, now you can see me too.
Hi, Dessi.
Hey, Scrub, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm just great. It's evening here, so good evening from Bulgaria.
Wonderful. It's great to have you here. And like we mentioned, we are writers all over the world, and we just wanted to bring you here in the loop as well, so you can kind of speak on what we're doing here. What brings you here? Tell us something good.
I was contacted by Word Sleuth a couple of months ago, and I'm not really in love with Instagram, basically, but I think this is the most amazing thing I've experienced on Instagram. So I just went to the profile and I got instantly hooked on this thing with the rare words, and it's absolutely very interesting for me because I'm a foreigner and English is not my first language. So
Somehow we lost her.
She'll be back. We'll keep everybody entertained in between that, because she still has. But I think that's very important, just to serve as that testimony, because a lot of times people think Instagram and they just think of the contiguous United States, and they don't really take into account how big or how small the world really is. Because 7.7 billion people, that's very daunting. And if we really think about it, if we really go into the math of it all, and I'm terrible at math, that's why I'm a poet. If we just kind of chip away at that, there we go,
I'm
Dessi.
sorry.
You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. So I felt absolutely challenged and I was really not sure if I could use these complicated words in my writing, but I think I'm doing very good, and every time it's a great experience because it provokes me to write in a different style than what I usually do, because I usually write psychological fiction and more personal things, realistic things, and sometimes just the set of Word Sleuth words makes you think about fantasy or sci-fi or something else, which I wouldn't write under other circumstances, but I think it's very interesting. And the whole community is supportive. I've never seen anything insulting there, or I haven't seen anything else than support between the authors, which is absolutely great.
It's good to hear you say that, because I think that's something that I've taken for granted, that there's that absence of negativity. And I think it's probably critical, and it kind of touches on something I said earlier on in the broadcast, that I think writers are a separate species of human beings. And given that we all echo on that same frequency, we know how important it is to maximize our contact and to reflect the right types of things, because that's what writing does. You know, these words that we're taking in, we're absorbing them and we're echoing them back. So it's great to hear you say that. It looks like we're going to dive into another testimonial.
Thank you so much, Dessi.
Thank you, Dessi.
Good to see you.
And let's see who we have up next. Symphony. And that's appropriate given that we're talking about poetry, and I've been accidentally poetrying throughout this thing here with Melissa. And Symphony, let's pick your brain about what you've garnered from the network. Tell us something good. How are you today? Tell us where you are, and tell us where you are on the planet.
Hi. Can you hear me all right?
You can. Yes. How are you?
So I'm Symphony Hale. I was passed the baton interview number 23. I'm a native California writer and poet. I placed third in the first round for the NYC Midnight Rhyming Challenge in 2022. I've been a ghostwriter since 2017. I've worked on novels ranging from romance to cozy mystery to paranormal, many other genres. Currently, I'm working on my debut novel, A Spark Amongst the Ashes, the first in a two-part, possibly three-part series. I'm also in the process of putting together a poetry compilation. It's Staccato Rhythms of an Iridescent Heart, and both of those are going to be released this summer. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at symphony_hale. I also have a website, www.symphonyhale.com, and you can find updates and writing and editing services, short stories, and more. And I was approached back in January about trying out the Word Improv challenges. And it's really been such a tremendous opportunity. Word Sleuth and Word Improv and the Pass the Baton interviews, they're really such a magnificent gift to the writing community. The challenges, they're so much more than just adding unique words to your vocabulary. They really give writers an opportunity to try out new voices, new genres, and experience writing in a completely different way, really expand their writing abilities. It pulls us out of our comfort zone and makes us grow. It's exciting, and to see where the words lead and where the stories, what they breathe into life from those. And so it's just been a lot of fun to be involved in.
It's good to hear you say that. I hear that a lot. That's the common theme about these words serving to exercise muscles that we wouldn't have used otherwise. And I think that's important to us as writers, because there's a story in everything. And it's interesting to hear that you're a ghostwriter, because a lot of times people hear ghostwriters and they don't get to see that human behind the ghostwriting. So seeing you here, there, now people will think, when they think ghostwriters, they'll think Symphony.
Thank you.
That's glorious. What else do you have for us?
I think that's all about it. So.
Hey, well, it's glorious. It is great for you to be part of the tribe. It's great to have you here. I can't see it otherwise. And with that, we're going to dig into crates some more. I think we have another testimonial, our good friend Katherine. And back in the day, many moons ago, I interviewed Katherine, if memory serves.
Yes. That was number 11.
Yeah, and I was told that I did a pretty good job. I don't know. I kind of put on my former journalist hat, but
You did. I felt that we connected over our love of remembering what I will refer to as heirloom recipes. How that reminds us of the family as we prepare them for the next generation.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So peel that back and just kind of tell us about the complexity of Katherine and what this group has meant for you, because we've had some conversations here, and I think this is a powerful thing. So spill the beans, my friend.
All right, so the word sleuth community makes the internet less scary. I'm just going to put that out there. So far, everybody I've met on the platform has been polite and cordial and super helpful. When you don't understand something, there's always someone there to help and walk you through it. And I'm fortunate that I have been interviewed. I have been able to interview someone else. And I've also acted as alternate on calls. So I guess at this point, Vlad trusts me at least a little. So my writing, when I see a set of words, I don't do all of them. It's not as if I'm trying to get some sort of catalog of word sleuth submissions that I can keep a record of. I'm picky. So I'll go through maybe 3-4 challenges, and I don't pick one until I can see the theme and the story and how all of the words relate to each other. And
there you go. I think you froze up a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just some of my professional stuff. I have one published novel, Jay, A Singularity Story. It's about grief and loss and answers some questions while asking more questions about death and dying, moving on and letting go of relationships and cultural differences. I wrote a collection of poetry that I plan on releasing as an audiobook. And I also am working on a book that I will refer to as just a quick reference guide of some knowledge that I had. So English, math, science, history, all the basic subjects, not meant to be read like a novel or anything. Just, look at the table of contents, go to the page that explains it.
Kind of like that Batman utility belt, if you will, for living. I love it. I think we talked about that.
We did. And just so you know, anybody who's apprehensive about doing an interview, it's not one of those I gotcha interviews. It's very much just similar to having coffee with friends at a cafe.
Yeah, I've been told that. I've been told that I can pull things out of people. Interestingly enough, but that is, I think that's a big part of what we're doing here, and I think this is a big part of this thing that I keep returning to, that words echoing, because these 6 words, these words that we use in this forum, they open doors to other things. And I think we've all mentioned it in past, and we see a word and it just takes us back to an event that we totally had tucked away, just untucked to us. I remember being suspended from school and my dad making me write that out. And like you mentioned before, and I love this, and I do want to give you the floor on this, about the whole art of cooking and how that frequency of food echoes and and you're able to convert that into words. Can you kind of speak to that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So cooking is very much where, you know, chemistry happens, right?
Yes.
So you have to have the right blend of ingredients. You have to understand the difference between your baking powders and your baking sodas and what will react to gluten and what won't. Like, it's a completely very organized thing that has to be done in a specific process, just like writing. You know, there's steps. And once you master it, there's a beauty to it, because when you learn how to make the cream puffs that your husband's grandmother made, and you can present those at Christmas, you just invoke all of those memories for the entire group that's there. And right now I host family dinner on Sundays. My brother, my nephew, my other nephew, it's a whole group, my sister-in-law, we all come together, we all eat something. And it doesn't matter if we're having something really complicated like chicken Florentine with a fettuccine, or something very basic like frozen pizza and salad.
Right.
Just getting together and playing Dungeons and Dragons as a family, and having people converse in little side conversations.
Now I see
it's togetherness.
And I see a Marvel Super Friends team up between us, you know, with my cookbook. And I know we've talked about this before, but this is something that, you know, I think that we can build on. And it's good that we have this forum that we can kind of put this out there and plant that seed, or allow that simmer to take place, if you will. But it's great to have you here, Katherine. I couldn't see it in any other way.
Well, thank you so much.
No,
I really appreciate it.
So what do we have here, good people? We have coming up Bianca, and she is popping in here, and she's hailing from across the pond as well. And she is another one of my friends with the pen. And Bianca, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Memory fails me. How are you, my friend? Don't think that I can hear her, but what I will do.
Oh, there we are.
I managed. Oh,
Hi,
my
Bianca.
God. Hi.
I summon you. How are you, my friend?
Or whatever. Who cares? I do hail from the pond, but I live in California now.
Awesome.
I'm an LA native these days. I mean, nobody actually comes from here, so I might as well call myself that. I was born and raised in Germany. I left Germany right after Abitur and went to England. I went to college in England. I love London, and it's the place where I became a human being. I am a published writer, and I'm actually a traditionally published writer. I'm the author of The Innkeeper's Daughter. Oh, that's the wrong way around. But here you go. The Innkeeper's Daughter, The Gentleman's Daughter.
Get screenshots of that, good people.
The Memory of Her, and in September I'm releasing the 4th book in this series, and it's called The Spy's Daughter. And that's a 4-book series. It will be completed in September, and it's available wherever you buy books. It's published in the US and Canada. My publisher is Canadian, but you can access it through in England. You can buy it through Waterstones, and I think one other bookseller. And in Germany, my family just basically goes on orders it off Amazon because that's easiest. But you can order it through bookstores as well. It is available through Ingram, which is like a distributor that anybody can order from.
And Ingram Sparks, correct?
Pardon?
Ingram Sparks?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you're here as well, Bianca, because I know that some people had lots of questions about marketing internationally. So when they spoke about that, I thought of you. So anyone that had questions regarding that, Bianca is your go-to. She is one of the more prolific writers in our group. So like I said before, there's powers in number. There is power in numbers in this group. And please feel free to lean on these resources.
It really, marketing, I think, is marketing a book is, it's trial and error. And you said, I heard you say before that reviews are gold. Reviews are everything. You can literally forget about any other marketing as long as you have lots of reviews. Very true. And then the big trick is not to just have books on Goodreads. They need to translate to Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and the only other thing that truly works is legwork. You have to go and talk to the bookstores. You have to go in there and put your face on and take your hands in your heart and just go in there and say, hey, I'm a local author. Are you willing to put my books into your store? And then you can say, well, this is a partnership. When I talk to people about books, I send them to your store because you have them. Mm-hmm. And I come in and I sign them. And so you start building a relationship with the stores around you, the bookstores around you. So that is the best marketing strategy I can think of. And especially when you're an independent writer, the first thing you need to know is that bookstores do not order your book if you print it on demand through Amazon. It will never happen. No independent bookstore will order that book because they are in a death battle with Amazon. So it's that's one thing that you just have to know. And my first book was published by somebody, by some charlatan, let's use that word, mm-hmm. who just did print on demand, and I didn't know any better. Mm-hmm. That is another part of publishing. I now have 10 years of experience on this, and to my mind, self-publishing is all well and good, but there is a limit of what you can do with self-publishing.
Write that down, good people. Write that down. But Bianca, thank you so much for that. But again, make sure.
It's really bad, but that's kind of, you need somebody behind you who knows what they're doing. But emphasis on they need to know what they're doing. My publisher actually publishes a lot of poetry, and that's how they make most of their money, because they know what they're doing. Simple as that.
But thanks for being on. But again, good people, let's use these resources, but let's go down the list here. It looks like we have Linda coming up, and I believe I saw her, and
I don't. Oh no, Linda is here. Yeah, Linda, are you able to come on?
And if not, I can read Linda's bio.
I think we're just waiting on Brittany to give her access. If not, we can certainly read a little bit more about her. Mm-hmm. As another awesome contributor to the Word Improv community.
Do you have Linda's bio up, just in case?
Yep, I do. Okay, it looks like she just got permission, so she should be able to come on. All right. Give her just a second here.
Not at all. I'm
Getting
not.
so many great nuggets of wisdom today. This has been
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, it's kind of like
So-
that old Underdog cartoon where you're just shaking the stuff out of Underdog, getting all of the good stuff.
Definitely. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit about Linda Johnson, who goes by Linda M. Johnson. She was Pass the Baton interview number 7. She is on Instagram as Poetess Love. She is a poetry person. Her title is worn with honor because the soul in her poetry is anything and everything but minor. She has a lyrical gene within her that clothes her inner. And really it's what she becomes, which is poetry. So anyway, she wrote this incredible piece in her bio. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. Something I learned when I was 20, but what I don't know years, even decades later, is the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether living in plenty and want, whether hungry or well-fed. So I asked the Lord to give me strength, better health, and a little cash to carry me through till I'm dead. Amen. Hence, she says she's a starving artist, like I'm sure a lot of us can relate to. But she's written over 1,000 poems in her lifetime, self-published 5 books of poetry. IJP, the book, it's just poetry, reading for the soul, the heart of a woman, round poetry and more, and true love comes from the heart, which are all available on Amazon.com. So poetry is her strongest form of communication and gives her the greatest elevation. It rewrites her story. It's her motivation, inspiration, and sometimes it's my ears when I need to have a conversation. Beautiful poetry. I love it. Linda, what an incredible bio.
I love it. I love it. Wow. So it looks like we've reached the tail end here, and there's a lot to take in. I was hanging out here in the Q&A box. People have said that they've learned a lot, and has promised. I said that there was 2 poets here hosting. It was definitely going to be something that was quotable. And someone has told me that I accidentally poetry throughout this display here. Another side question that I've had, and I know there's a lot of people that have mentioned that they're on the wall about joining this collective of people with pens doing mighty things. There's no cost involved. There's power in numbers here. And it's important to have community because this is something that I keep returning to. We are the people that we have been waiting for. The one thing that brings us all together is food and words. And if we don't lean into that, we're going to lose our humanity. That's what the Writers Improv Network is about. This is what my dad always mentioned about words saving my life, because that's the one thing that we have if we endeavor to speak to each other versus talking past each other. Let me leave you with this piece before we break. And before we break, I do want to give a hat tip to Word Sleuth, you know, that ethereal, great human being behind the scenes that has brought us all together. A shout out to our managing editor, Concetta, no one does it better. My co-host, Melissa, the one-day poet, who's off-quoted, and Captain, our master of ceremonies, our MC. But these words here, this piece here is called The Classroom, and this kind of ties into this whole marketing effort that we talked about here in this collective. I began to learn a lot about humanity and me when I began to yield to being still. When we talk during class, we miss the lessons. This is missed, so are the blessings. This is the logic of being still. In instruction or standing taut in the storm. So if you're a writer and you're in that storm and you think no one is listening and you think you have no community, come on over to the Word Improv Community. Melissa and I will be here. We'll have pros at our disposal, and we'll welcome you with open arms. This journal that we have here is chock full of information, everything that you need to do to be a part of it. We'll be more than happy to welcome you. And with that, I'll yield my time. And Melissa, you have a cherry to put on this, my friend?
Oh, yes. I mean, I think I'd want to just in closing give a huge thank you to CMX for giving us this platform today, giving us 2 hours of time to just talk to these incredible writers all over the world. This has been such an inspirational time. I think the 2 hours, we've learned so much from each other in this time. That's what it's about. As we bring together this community, we learn, we grow, we thrive because of our connections with each other. And that's what it's about, is connectivity, being brought together, doing something incredible and inspiring. I'm proud and I'm honored to have worked with all of the different authors on this call today, and to work with each of you and to just chat with you guys. How inspiring it has been. So thank you for giving us 2 hours of your Sunday. We know that time is valuable, but I hope that you found this inspiring. Please drop your handles into the chat. Let's all follow each other, support each other, celebrate each other, and do mighty things with pens.
Amen to that, my friend. Amen to that. But hey, everyone, it's great to have you here. You know where to find me and Melissa, and you'll always find me hanging out at the water's edge or on Has the Incense Burns. I'm wherever your podcast is. Good people, be safe. We live on the most dangerous planet in the solar system, the third one from the sun. I'll chat with you soon. Be well.